Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. We're speaking with Dr. Scarlet Constant today to ask all of our questions about what to expect this spring and this coming summer. I know I have tons of questions. I have questions about Florida measles. I have questions about the flu shot, summer registration for camp. So let's get Dr. Scarlet Constant signed in so we could start asking away all the questions. She is on a time crunch. We are taking time away from her lunch break. So we're so appreciative that she's taking the time to speak to us. And if only we can get the internet to work for her, we could get, here she is. We can get started. How's everybody today? Is it lunchtime everywhere? I believe it. Yeah. Dr. Scarlet Constant's about to join us. And I've got so many questions for her, starting with allergy season. If you could hear it in my voice, my allergies are just taking over. It's beautiful to see everything blooming, but we are all suffering. I've been on constant Zyrtec this whole time, and my daughter's eyes are crying. Everything itches. Popcorn is even bringing pollen in on her feet. She's there. We go.
It said thank you for participating, and then
And there you go. That's what happens on lives. We're going to have to fix this somehow as we move forward. But
okay,
let's back it up,
okay.
Doctor. Hello. Thank you so much for being with us on your lunch break. We know you're so busy seeing
You know,
patients.
I'm happy to do this. This is the fun part.
Well, I'm so excited because I have personal questions starting with this allergy season, which is kicking everybody's butts. I don't know
Yeah,
about you, but
yeah,
we wake
yeah.
up and we've got a film of yellow pollen on our cars.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure it's sitting and settling in our roof and seeping in through the windows, coming in through the dog's paws.
Yeah.
Is this the worst you've seen in the office as well?
Yes, it's been a couple of years. I think we had a really bad season like 3 years ago or so, but it's been a while, and it kind of crept up on us slowly, and it's been really bad. The kids are really suffering. I've just been seeing a lot of kids with like sinusitis as a complication of like their constant nasal congestion, the skin symptoms, the eczema being exacerbated. I mean, it's been pretty bad. So I'm really encouraging my patients to just take action now and get on an antihistamine and just stay on it. I usually just say stay on till Easter. That's usually when like all the flowers fall off and then the fruit starts to come. So we really need people to stay on their antihistamines and really just, use preventative measures to control those symptoms.
And does the antihistamine have any interactions with any over-the-counter medicine? Like I know a lot of people use Sudafed, for example. Can you take a Sudafed and a Zyrtec together?
Yes, you can take a Sudafed and a Zyrtec, or you can just take like Claritin D, Allegra D. They all have decongestant components, so you could do one or the other. I also don't advise taking a decongestant for too long. If it's getting really bad, you of course want a couple of days of using that. But if you stay on your antihistamine, that would prevent you from developing nasal congestion anyway.
And,
So I would say maybe like a couple of
and
days.
at what point do you think, okay, this is enough? It's turning into, the green, yellowish boogers
Right.
that come out of the nose for kids. At what point is it, okay, it's time to go see the doctor?
I'd say if you have thick secretions where you just cannot breathe if you're not blowing your nose for more than a week, then you should see your pediatrician, because now we need to, maybe it's not sinusitis, but at least you need to step up your allergic therapy. So I would say after a week. If it's just a clear runny nose and your what we call hay fever symptoms, you're just going to have to ride that out until allergy season is over.
Holy moly. And let's hope it starts
Mhm.
raining a little bit too. Although I love this cold weather and
Exactly.
I've been saying it's lovely. I
Yeah,
need the
we
rain to
do.
come and kind of clear out the
Yeah.
pollen that has settled on our roof.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we have 8 mango trees at my house and 2 avocado. And as soon as I get home, we're all just like miserable. As soon as we pull into the driveway, like all of us just feel it. It's terrible. I know.
So, Dr. Scarlett Constant is not only a dear friend of mine, but she is a fellow mom. We have our kids in the same school, same sporting events,
Yeah.
same sports team. So, sometimes I'm going to ask her to speak to us as a doctor, and other times I'm
Okay.
going to talk to her and be like, hey, Scarlett, you're a mom. Tell me what you think. So,
Okay.
I hope that's okay with you, doctor.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So my other question for you is you touched up on okay, now it's time to go see the pediatrician. There's a
Mhm,
lot of people that are now thinking, should I go to the urgent care
mhm,
or should I go to the doctor's office? What is
mhm.
the difference and when do you see the doctor? When do you go to urgent care?
Right. Okay. So traditionally, the urgent care was created to be like a step down from the emergency room. So, some people felt like, my kid is sick, but I don't feel like I need to be in a huge emergency room. The wait time is, of course, longer. It's a little bit harder. You're going to have much more high level patients there ahead of your child. So these urgent cares were created so that it's kind of like a step down, right? Respiratory distress. Maybe you can't control a fever for a few days, allergic reaction, a broken bone, that type of thing. You would go to an urgent care. And of course, if your pediatrician is not accessible, then you have like a backup, but it's not necessarily an emergency room level visit. Now, I understand that it is hard now to access your pediatrician. There are some offices that have a very long wait. So some people have been using it as a source of convenience. Instead of going to their doctor's office or having to schedule an appointment, they'd rather just go to the urgent care and not have to really, announce that they're coming. They could be a walk-in and then get seen. So it became more of a convenience thing. I understand that. And I know as a working mom, sometimes you just need that out. I encourage patients to please try to avoid doing that simply for your continuity of care. The idea is you have your pediatrician because you've established a relationship with them. Your pediatrician should know your child, knows your family, knows your medical history or your child's medical history. So when we are making judgments and treating your child, it's not very black and white. It's not that, listen, you have strep throat, I'm giving you this antibiotic, out the door, bye. No, I take into consideration, you know what, you didn't respond well to this antibiotic the last time I saw you, or you have this allergy, I have it here on file because I know you, etc. I know maybe I know your friend or your sibling had strep and I know how to treat you. So there's a lot more that we're taking into consideration when we're treating. And there's nothing better than to have somebody that truly knows you to treat you. And most importantly, the continuity of care. After treatment, we want to follow up with you. I want to see if you responded to treatment. Are you getting better? Or has there been a complication? Urgent care is, this is what you have. This is what you need. Out you go. I'm not going to see you again. And that's where there tends to be a little bit of a disconnect in medical care, is because we'd like to see you and follow up with you and just assure that treatment is going well as planned. So those are the differences between urgent care and going to your pediatrician.
That really makes all the sense in the world. I've heard that there's a lot of people going to these minute clinics and going to these urgent cares to receive, or even the pharmacy to receive flu shots. Danny just got through the flu. We are flu shot people.
Mhm,
I've had so many people come up to me saying, I don't believe in the flu shot. I always, forgo the shot and I never have gotten the flu. And then I've had other people that have told me, anybody who got the flu in the spring took the flu shot in the fall.
mhm.
If you didn't get the flu shot, you got it really bad. Now it's not so bad. Please drop your
Yeah.
knowledge and put this conversation to end. What is the story with the flu shot?
Okay, so the flu shot is so the flu vaccine is actually created probably in the next couple of months. They're going to they're going to basically take all the data from all of the most prevalent strains, and then they'll compose a vaccine that will be released in the fall for 2025, 2026.
Okay.
So every year in the fall, you want to get the vaccine to protect you from all the most common strains. Now the strains, they'll prevail depending on, what's going on, who's traveling, what, epidemiologically, what is happening in your community. And so ideally, we like to say to get your flu vaccine sometime October or November, just so that you're protected before Thanksgiving and Christmas and the big burst of the flu. And if you get the vaccine October time, I usually tell my patients to please come like by Halloween. You'll be protected for the whole year. You should be just fine for the spring, for the fall, the winter, and the spring. So those that got it absolutely are protected. Maybe some people got it early, like in August. Sometimes the physicians, we're offered the vaccine in August as soon as it's released. And maybe you'll have a little bit of waning immunity toward the end and you're not protected for spring. I have not personally experienced that, but this is why a lot of us like to wait until October, as close to the end of October as possible, to carry you through the spring. Now, the idea that I've never had the flu or I've never taken the vaccine, I mean, that's great if they've never had it, but that's not a reason to not get it. The reality is the flu, we know there's a flu season every year. We know that it varies. Some years it's very subtle, some years it's very strong, some years it just causes a lot of respiratory effects and puts people in the hospital. I mean, there are different variants and we can't really predict what's going to happen. So the safest thing to me is to protect yourself so that you know that you are safe for travel, for Christmas, getting together with all your friends, your family members, sick little kids that are always around you. I mean, I think for peace of mind and just for general health awareness, it's good to just protect yourself. But I know there are people that believe otherwise. I strongly encourage it. My children get it every year. My children do not get the flu. They do just fine, and we're happy jumping on a plane here and there. We know there are people getting the flu around us, and we've been protected. So there's something to say about herd immunity.
And what would you tell somebody who thinks that getting the flu shot protects them from getting the flu?
Right. So all vaccines. So here's the thing. There's this misunderstanding with vaccines. Vaccines are give what they do is they generate an immune response in your body so that your memory T cells are ready to just come out and surge and fight this virus when you are introduced to the virus. So the idea is if you get the vaccine, you are able to fight the flu so much harder than you would if you didn't have it, so that your symptoms will be mild, almost non-existent. That's usually what will happen. The idea of not getting the flu, that is herd immunity. If there is herd immunity, you're likely not going to get the flu because everyone around you is completely protected. Therefore, you don't have hosts for the flu to circulate. So there's a very good chance of you not getting it. It doesn't mean that you are impervious to the disease.
Let's talk about herd immunity because I'm
Mhm.
hearing this word a lot in the
Right,
news with respect to the measles.
right.
Measles has arrived in the state of Florida. It's right in our backyard. There, I don't know if it's confirmed now that it was Palmetto Bay that had the first case. I need you to talk to me about the measles
Okay.
because I
Yeah,
want to get the story straight and
yeah,
I want to be able to have you shed the knowledge on it to everybody here of
right.
what it is exactly that's happening in Florida and how to go about it.
Okay, so yes, there was the first confirmed case of the measles here in Pinecrest at Palmetto Senior High School. It was an unvaccinated student. We do not, so there, I was reading on the CDC actually that there are cases and there are outbreaks. And an outbreak is if there are, I think, more than 30 cases. So we do not have an outbreak yet here in Miami, but we do have isolated cases. And the idea is that the measles were eradicated. Eradication means that epidemiologically, you do not have an outbreak and you no longer have an increase in cases. So we don't have cases, but we didn't have what is called an extermination or extinction of the disease. So that's to say measles exists. It still exists. It's always existed. People believe that it just had went away. It did not. It was always there. We just didn't have cases because everybody was vaccinated and protected. And when you're vaccinated with the MMR vaccine, which is the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, is a combo vaccine that protects against those three viruses, you are 97% protected against the measles. There is a 3% chance of you getting it. And if there's a 3% chance of you getting it and no one and everyone around you only has a 3% chance of getting it, you're just not getting it, right?
Sure.
And it just doesn't circulate. But what has happened now is that we have an increased incidence of children that are not getting vaccinated. They are not protected. And then that's how that little crack opens, and that's how the virus gets in and starts to circulate again.
And so those people that say that it transferred from Texas or it came from Texas on an airplane and it's going to break out into our community and it's going to spread like COVID.
Right, right,
It's
right, right. I have not heard that, but unless somebody knows for a fact that this kid happened to be in the town in Texas and was with a cousin that had it and he got
right.
it. I mean, I don't know. And either way, what's the point? The reality is that child was unvaccinated, which is why it happened, which is what we're talking about. If you're unvaccinated, you will get it.
So talk to me about unvaccinated kids at school because
Mhm,
I was under the assumption until you told me
mhm,
otherwise that you had to be vaccinated to enter a school property because I thought that's why you gave these forms to the school.
right. So, yes. And As it's funny because my mom thinks it's the law to be vaccinated. That's like how much we believe that it was mandated. Okay,
Right.
so Dade County Public School System requires vaccination to enter school, and it requires the DH 680 form to be completed. That's your immunization form to prove that you've been immunized. The school gets audited, and they need to have that form on file for every single child. If the school does not have that form on file for a certain child, you have to contact the parent and ask them either for that form, or if you cannot provide this form, you need to explain to us why your child is not vaccinated. There are two excuses that you can use that are accepted in the Dade County Public School System. One is a medical exemption because there are children that medically cannot get vaccines because they are
Right.
immunocompromised, usually bone marrow transplant or cancer
Sure.
patients. So you can have a medical exemption. If that medical exemption is on file for that student, the school is in good standing and they do not get reprimanded. The other exemption is something called a religious
Okay.
exemption. If the family chooses to go apply at the Department of Health for a religious exemption stating we are not vaccinating our child for religious reasons, they can also submit that form. So those three forms are accepted. So as long as you're providing that, the school really can't ask any further questions. And this is the loophole, and this is how children that are not vaccinated have been able to enter our schools.
Got it. Okay. So those children obviously are more susceptible to getting,
They are susceptible.
yeah. So we got to be careful with them too. Got to take
Exactly.
care of them.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what would you say would be the best form of information dissemination? If somebody is very concerned about the measles in Miami, where is the best place for them to look for facts and data of what is happening? Because rumors spread like wildfire.
Mhm. Exactly. No, the CDC is the best resource of information for vaccines, for disease spread, for the epidemiology in your community. You can just look it up they actually have maps where you can check the map and see how many cases there are. It gives you the vaccine schedule, why vaccine. And, I mean, it answers every single question you'll have about vaccination and about diseases, about viruses, outbreaks. And it is a reputable source. These are doctors that have been working together and studying all of these cases all throughout our communities, putting this data together and compiling it in order to keep us safe. I mean, they are the front line. They are the ones that disseminate this information to practicing physicians in the community. So if we need any information or guidance, we go to the CDC, and families should as well.
And what are the symptoms of measles?
So the symptoms of measles are flu-like symptoms. You're going to have your cough, your runny nose, body aches, fever, and there is a very distinct rash that you develop with the measles. And if anybody develops those symptoms, they really should go see their physician or go to the hospital right away.
Is that something that people need to be worried about going into spring break right now? A lot of people are traveling in the coming weeks for spring break and the Easter holiday.
Right. So for again, I hate saying this because, it feels like you're just concerned about yourself. But if you are fully vaccinated and your family is fully vaccinated, speaking about measles specifically, you don't have anything to worry about. There is a slim to none chance of you getting the measles. But as far as preparing for travel, I'd still worry about the flu. I would still make sure that you're protected against the flu. There's the bird flu that's also going around right now, and para-influenza virus. So I would just make sure that you're up to date with your vaccines, you're practicing your safety precautions, washing your hands, making sure that you wear a mask if you feel that you're somewhere where a lot of people are coughing and sneezing and you want to protect yourself. And just make sure when you do come home from spring break and with your children, if they have any funky symptoms, a runny nose or a deep cough that they didn't have before, a low-grade fever, don't send them back to school that Monday. Just take a
Smart.
breather, take a minute, watch them for 24 hours, see if the symptoms develop, and then send them to school. Don't just don't get off that plane Sunday night and, oh, she's feeling warm. It must be from travel, school next morning. Please don't do that.
Okay, I promise we won't. But you did touch up on, I want to continue with this whole conversation about vaccinations. Every year, for those who get vaccinated, as you know, when you go for your well checkup, the kids are looking at you and they're going, "Oh my God, am I going to get pricked and prodded this year?"
Yeah,
I never know what to tell my kids
right,
because I don't know the entry point for
right,
vaccinations.
right,
So, what age group are you going to need to see for the entrance into the next academic year?
right.
Which ones are getting poked and prodded?
Exactly. That's a great question because, I've seen some kids, I've seen them for years and they keep coming in. Am I going to get pinched? I'm like, I don't pinch you every year. Where are you getting this from? Have I ever done that? But no, so going into kindergarten, so you have your 4-year vaccines, which actually is a misnomer. It's a 4-year vaccine, but kindergarten requires that immunization form. So
Okay.
kids going into kinder need to turn in their forms, and at that point, they should be fully immunized against the measles, mumps, rubella, polio, everything. You're done.
Okay.
Then you don't get vaccines again until you turn 11. We have a nice 7-year spread. So I don't know why all these kids are always crying in my office because they don't get
Get
anything.
out.
Yes. So after 4, you don't get vaccines again until age 11.
Okay.
Age 11 are the booster vaccines. That's your tetanus booster. Your child's first meningitis vaccine. And then the Gardasil vaccine, which is the vaccine against human papillomavirus. And that protects girls and boys against cervical cancer, anal rectal cancer, and actually mouth and throat cancer. So those are the 3 vaccines they should get at their 11-year checkup. And then they get boosters again at 16 and then done.
So 11 would be incoming rising sixth graders?
Rising 6th graders. Now, here's the thing. Schools don't require it until 7th grade. It's called the 7th grade shot. So everybody gets very confused.
Oh, funny.
You don't need to turn that form in until 7th grade, usually. So it'll be interesting to find out for our kids that are leaving 5th, going to a new school for 6th grade. They may or may not require those vaccines, but they are due at age 11. So if your kid is going in as an 11-year-old, you're probably going to need them.
Okay, so we've got the kindergartners and we've got the 11-year-olds,
Yes,
and then your
yes,
16-year-olds, right before they become legal and you can't tell them what to do
yeah,
anymore.
yeah, which is when I lose them. Yes,
Okay, I don't
yes.
think I'll forget that now.
Yeah, that's right. You want
Okay,
your license? Go to your doctor and get your boosters.
I like it.
Then we'll give you your driver's
So
license.
I'm already thinking ahead to summer camp because there's already a craze to sign people up for summer camp.
No,
And
no.
every year, I think it starts earlier and earlier,
Yes.
and we're always behind, and there's only 2 spots left. And
Uh-huh.
I know that there's a million and one forms to sign for summer camp. When do you want to see those kids?
So I ask parents to please come in the spring. It's so much easier because June is crazy town. I mean, all of us have these end of the year events. Everybody's going to parties at school. And then they remember, oh my gosh, I need these forms yesterday. And they're trying to rush into the office. It's crazy. So please just try to get it done. I would say like April, May. But also it's important to remember. So it's just like a funny system. So the forms that you need to turn into your camps are forms that confirm your child has had a physical exam. Most of you have already had your kids examined and had your physical exam. So all you need is your doctor to just sign it. For example, if you did your physical for your kids this January or February, for camp, all you need is the form, ask your doctor to sign it, and done. You don't even need to come into the office. But I think people think that they need to see me again or like they need to come in for a visit. Your physical exam is good for 1 full calendar year.
Okay.
That's all you
I
need.
did not know that. And your immunization form as well.
Your immunization forms are good indefinitely. They only expire when you're due for more immunization. So let's say Adri already had her 11-year shots. Her form is good until she's 16. You could turn
And
that thing in left
can
and right.
somebody access their own immunization form on their own, or does it have to be through their healthcare
Right.
provider?
It has to be through your healthcare provider because we're the only ones that have access to that system. Now, that's that DH680 form that I was telling you about. Camps don't require that. They usually just ask you to punch in the dates or give a copy. Like you can go to your patient portal and just print a copy of her vaccines. You could do that on your own. But if they require the Florida Health Department form on that official template, we have to do that for
This is
you.
all great information. Thank you.
You're
I have
welcome.
one question that I forgot to ask you the other day, but I'm dying to know, is the norovirus still running rampant in Miami?
Thank God, no, I have not seen it. Knock
Oh,
on
thank
wood. I have not seen it. It
goodness.
came and it went.
Just as
Yeah,
quickly as it came, it went.
exactly. I think it was maybe like mid-February was like the last of it that I saw.
So what are you seeing the
Um,
most of right now?
Well, right now, so flu ended. I saw my last flu last week was terrible, and they were like back to back, every single kid coming in. I was like, oh, but this one's going to be positive. That one's going to be, I mean, it was just terrible. That ended, and now the allergies.
The allergies. At
Yep.
what point do you recommend a patient to go see an allergist?
Okay, well, so I do like allergy testing here in my office. You'll usually get like the blood test, and a lot of physicians will do that just to screen. So if there's a history of allergies or allergic behavior and we want to confirm it, we'll do a blood test and see if you're allergic. Now, I usually refer to an allergist if number one, we cannot control your allergies in the office with like standard care. Number two, if you have so many things that are positive on that screen, you need to be managed by an allergist just to see if you're a candidate for immunotherapy or for oral immunotherapy. If there are food allergies, I don't want to restrict your diet so much that it's a problem at home. For those, I would refer to an allergist. But if it's your standard, like hay fever that's controlled with an antihistamine, maybe a nasal spray, conjunctivitis, I'll usually
Yes.
treat it here. I'll usually treat it here. But the complicated allergies or that might need immunotherapy, I always recommend that my patients see an allergist and we might treat together. We'll treat the patient together alongside each other.
We always say, oh, we never saw it this bad when we were little. But it's true. We never saw it this bad when we were little. It's terrible.
I know, but that is so crazy. I mean, that's also just like weather patterns, and like the bees. I mean, there are so many factors that are involved with this that are, I never had allergic symptoms in my life, and I recently started having them like 5 years ago.
Is it
I
true
think,
that your body's allergies adjust every 7 years?
yes,
They
yes,
do?
around that, yes,
Oh, so
yes.
you
And
can grow out of an
also, you
allergy.
can for sure, as adults, I mean, we go all over the place. And let's not forget pregnancy. I mean, I had major allergies when I was pregnant that I'd never had in my life.
Well, I ended up having food aversions that lasted with me to this
Oh, yeah.
day from the
Yeah.
kids. I cannot look at a mushroom
Oh, wow.
and I cannot smell perfumes anymore. This
Okay,
whole
yeah.
craze with
Mhm.
Sephora, Sephora, I love you if you're listening,
Mhm.
but I cannot stand the smell of the products
Right,
ever
right,
since after I had my babies.
right.
And the smell of all those mists in Adriana's room, I can't go in. I
That's why she does it.
That's why she doesn't. Well, I don't want to keep more time from you because you are on your lunch break and I'm sure you have to scarf something down before your
Yeah,
next patient.
yeah.
But thank you so much. And I was wondering if you wanted to come back seasonally and talk to us about what's happening because I think it was exactly a year ago that you and I spoke. I
Right,
looked back at our old video and you were
right.
telling us how to get ready for summer camp.
Oh my goodness, right. Yes. Well, we should have it. I'll tap in and say, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. Be careful. This is what the kids are getting right now. I think it'll be great. And I think it's very informative for parents just to kind of know what's going on.
Absolutely. And please, once you have more info on the measles, let's hope it stays contained. But if there's ever any time you want to come and give us a report on the measles, please do.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to.
Thank you so much, Dr.
You're
Scarlet Constant.
welcome.
If anybody wants to reach her, her hashtag, her handle is
Mhm.
Dr. Period Scarlet Constant.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna go ahead and put everything there because I can barely read those little letters that are crossing across my
yeah.
screen.
I know. I know. I don't have my
Thank you.
readers.
Yeah. Thank you, doctor. We'll talk soon.
Okay, we'll talk soon. Bye.
Bye.
Good to see you.